5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Chamber pictures, Tom.
T plus 40 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 lifting off from Space Launch Complex 39A at the Kennedy Space Center.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Carrying 47 Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit. Now, we just throttled down the Merlin 1D engines in preparation for max Q. That's the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
That's the point when the combination of the velocity of the vehicle and the density of the Earth's atmosphere put the highest stresses on the vehicle.
Max Q.
So with that, we are through the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure. Stresses on the vehicle will continue to decrease as we continue up to orbit. We've got 3 events happening in quick succession. First of those will be main engine cutoff, or MECO, followed by stage separation, and then second engine start number 1, or SES-1. Main engine cutoff is where all 9 of the Merlin 1D engines will shut down to slow down the vehicle in preparation for stage separation. That's where the first and second stages will separate using those pneumatic mechanisms in the interstage. Right after stage separation, the first stage will be making its way back to Earth for landing, and we will be attempting to recover the first stage today on a drone ship stationed out in the Atlantic named Just Read the Instructions.
Vehicle is following a nominal trajectory.
Now, while that's happening, stage 2 will continue on its journey with the third event. That's second engine start number 1, or SES-1. It'll start its Merlin vacuum engine and take those Starlink satellites to orbit. It's coming up, just a few seconds. MECO, main engine cutoff, followed by stage sep, and then SES-1.
Nico.
Stage separation confirmed.
Now we'll see pretty shortly here fairing deployment as well.
And second engine stage startup.
Fairing separation confirmed.
So there on the right-hand side of your screen, those Starlink satellites seeing space for the first time. There's a shot of the Merlin vacuum. You can actually see the fairing halves heading back to planet Earth. And on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see the first stage deploying its grid fins.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
Just a quick note on the fairing halves today. One of those is flying for its 3rd time. The other is flying for its 4th. And we will be attempting to recover both halves today using our recovery vessel named Bob. Now, stage 2 is continuing to its target orbit. The first stage, which you can see on your left-hand side, has a couple of burns to make before it can make its way back to planet Earth. First of those is the entry burn. It'll ignite 3 of its Merlin 1D engines to slow down as it re-enters the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere. And then the second burn happens much closer to touchdown on that first stage. It'll ignite just its single center Merlin engine for the landing burn. And that's what brings the vehicle speed rapidly down to 0 so we can have a soft touchdown on the drone ship. Right-hand side of your screen, you can see the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage with some beautiful shots
Acquisition of signal.
of Earth behind us. Glowing that orange color. The second stage engine will continue to burn until about T plus 8 minutes, so it's got a few minutes to go here. If you're just joining us, we had successful liftoff of the Falcon 9 at 9:25 a.m. Eastern Time from the Kennedy Space Center, Space Launch Complex 39A. On the left-hand side of your screen is a live view of the first stage with its grid fins extended, preparing for its next major event, which is the entry burn. It's making its way to a drone ship stationed in the Atlantic named Just Read the Instructions, targeting its 11th landing. On the right-hand side of your screen is the second stage, carrying 47 Starlink satellites into an intended drop-off orbit. Now, those Merlin engines on the stages, on the first stage, are actually optimized for sea level. They achieve about 190,000 pounds of thrust during ascent, so during this portion of the mission, and now for descent, a similar amount of thrust. The Merlin vacuum engine is optimized for 220,500 pounds of thrust, and that's because the nozzle is significantly larger, allowing us to get more force out of the gases from combustion. You can see a couple of the grid fins on the Falcon 9's first stage on the left-hand side of your screen. Those hypersonic grid fins are near the top of the first stage. And as we get back into the Earth's atmosphere, the first stage only uses those grid fins to steer back towards the drone ship. While we're in the less dense parts of the Earth's atmosphere, you can see some periodic gas thrusters. That's from nitrogen gas.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
And that's orienting the vehicle as we get prepared for the entry burn start, which is coming up about 20 or so seconds from now. During entry burn, we'll ignite 3 of the Merlin 1D engines on the first stage to slow down the vehicle as we start to hit the denser parts of the Earth's atmosphere.
Stage 1, entry burn, startup.
Stage 1 FTS is safe.
So confirmation of entry burn startup.
Stage 2 FTS is safe.
This burn lasting just about 20 seconds. You can see rapidly reducing the velocity of the first stage.
Stage 1, entry burn, shutdown.
So confirmation of shutdown of the entry burn. From here, the grid fins are going to play a more and more important role as we enter into the thicker parts of the Earth's atmosphere. And as we flew through the exhaust plume from that entry burn, we actually deposited a layer of soot on the rocket. If you've followed our missions before, you know that soot on a first stage indicates that we've flown it before. That actually comes from the Rocket Propellant 1 kerosene combustion from Falcon 9's propellants. Rocket Propellant 1 is a carbon-based propellant, so as we burn it, it generates a little bit of soot, which is deposited onto the vehicle. Now, coming up about 20 seconds from now, we'll have landing burn on the first stage. We may not have video confirmation of that part of the mission, so I'll try to give callouts if I can hear them on the nets. And simultaneously, so there's call out there for the landing burn start. Simultaneously, during the landing burn, the landing legs will deploy on the first stage for hopefully a soft touchdown. And then the second stage, which we have on our screen, should also complete its first burn.
Stage 1, landing leg deploy.
So 4 landing legs deployed on the first stage, confirmed by the ground control team.
Stage 1, landing confirmed.
And confirmation, 11th successful landing of that first stage.
Pico.
26th overall landing on Just Read the Instructions. Here you can see a shot there. We also had a call out.
Nominal orbit insertion.
2 callouts there on the second stage, confirmation of second engine cutoff and a nominal orbit, which means those Starlink satellites are right where they want to be for the upcoming payload deployment. Now, those 47 Starlink satellites are scheduled to be deployed about an hour from now. However, we won't have live audio or visual coverage of the payload deployment due to a lack of ground station coverage at the scheduled time. We will regain signal with our ground station at about T+1 hour and 19 minutes. So for those of you interested, we'll keep the audio-only countdown nets up on our YouTube channel, and we'll confirm successful payload deployment on our social media channels. So with that and this awesome shot of the first stage, we're going to bring today's webcast coverage to a close. Our team at SpaceX would like to thank the Range and the Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's mission. We also want to take some time to thank our viewers and all of our Starlink customers for using our service at this time. For more information on Starlink, or if you're interested in signing up for service, head on over to starlink.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again real soon.